In the beginning of the story, we get to see a guy named Rajani Babu and his wife. They have a few kids who are always making their lives miserable. Rajani Babu is quite old, but he still wants some romance in his life. He's always seeking to find sweet moments with his wife, but she shows no interest. This frustrates Rajani Babu as he only makes a weekly visit to his wife and spends rest of the weekdays looking after his boarding house in the city. Rajani Babu is the proud owner of Annapurna boarding house in the city, where about 20 men stay so that they can work and study in the city. We see the men in the boarding house quite happy. They crack jokes on each other all the time. All their needs, such as smoke, tea time, ironing, lunch, dinner, are maintained by two servants. Everything was going well. But one day, one of Rajani Babu's distant relatives shows up at the boarding house. They need a place to stay for a few days. Rajani Babu is a kind-hearted man, so he allows the family to stay, even though the boarding house is only for men. Rajani Babu's relative has a young, beautiful daughter called Ramala, who soon gets noticed by the men at the boarding house. They argue a lot regarding this. Should the family stay at the boarding house for men or not? At the end, they decide to help out Rajani Babu's relatives. Then we see men trying to get Ramala's attention, but she ignores them. Then one day, a guy named Rampriti calls the boarding house. He wants to know about his room, but Ramala picks up. Rampriti and Ramala argue with each other over the phone. Rampriti can't believe that a girl would be staying at a men's boarding house and thinks that there must be something wrong with the phone line. Later, when he gets back to the boarding house, he complains regarding the phone line. He says, "I called here, but some stupid girl picked up, and she wouldn't let the phone go." Ramala, who is in a nearby room, hears this and rushes toward Rampriti's room and scolds him for calling her stupid. Rampriti feels dumbfounded and gets mad at Ramala. The guys also take it badly. They complain to Rajani Babu, who realizes that this family is not suited to live in this male-dominated boarding house. When everyone is ready to let the family go, Ramala goes to Rampriti's room again and says that they both were guilty and she is sorry. She also adds that Rampriti should feel sorry as well, but he lacks the common sense to do so. Rampriti sees that the girl is hurt. He requests Rajani Babu to let them stay here, who feels relieved to hear that. The men are also happy to see that everything worked out. Soon we see Rampriti and Ramala meeting up with each other for a formal apology. The other guys at the boarding house finds out about it and makes fun of them both on a regular basis. Rampriti feels sorry for the meetup and writes a letter saying that it won't happen again. Ramala writes back that things happen for a reason, which intrigues Rampriti. Soon we see them exchanging more letters. They are falling for each other. Meanwhile, the other guys find out about the letter and complain to Rajani Babu regarding this. They say that it's not civilized for men and women to get involved in such manner. They even manage to collect one of the letters from Ramala and hand it over to Rajani Babu. Rajani Babu takes the letter and says that he will deal with this when he gets back from his weekly visit to his family. Then we see Rajani Babu at his house. While cleaning his pockets, his wife finds the letter and gets shocked. She fears that she might lose her husband to a younger woman. So she tries to impress her husband through sweet talk. She even tries some makeup to improve her looks. This makes Rajani Babu puzzled but happy, as he doesn't understand the reason behind these changes. Then we see Rajani Babu coming back to the boarding house and talking to Rampriti. Rampriti confesses that he has fallen in love with Ramala. Rajani Babu says that it's great news and asks him to write to his dad regarding this. Soon we see two families meeting up and deciding the day of the marriage. On the other hand, Rajani Babu's wife hears about a marriage that's going to take place in the boarding house. She thinks that her husband is going to get married without letting her know. She takes the train and rushes toward the boarding house. After getting there, the wife finds out that it's actually not Rajani Babu but Rampriti who is getting married. She feels relieved and realizes that she still loves this old man. They both laugh. The man at the boarding house hears about the letter and laughs out loud, and it becomes the great joke of Annapurna boarding house.